The family man follows Srikant Tiwari, a middle-class man secretly working as an intelligence officer, balancing high-stakes missions with family life. Action, suspense, and unexpected twists collide as he fights terrorists while keeping his identity hidden from his loved ones. Stick around, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest recap. Let's get into it. A ship drifts off the coast of Kochi, taken over by 3 armed men. Asif, the leader, Abu Bakr, his right hand, and Musa, a former software engineer who turned to extremist work. The Coast Guard catches them quickly and takes them into custody. Cut to Srikant, calmly doing yoga in the park before heading home to his typical middle-class family. His wife Sushi and their kids, Driti and Atharv. Breakfast is chaotic, filled with sibling teasing and classic mom warnings. Srikant drops the kids at school while ignoring non-stop calls from his colleague JK. Because of Srikant's obsession with Vada Pav, he and JK arrive late to their job at TASC, an intelligence unit handling national security threats. Their boss assigns them the case of the hijacked ship. A new recruit, Zoya, joins the investigation. At the airport, they meet Pasha from Force 1, who is in charge of transporting the captured men. But chaos breaks out when the terrorists escape, killing officers and fleeing into a nearby village. While Srikant deals with Driti getting caught with anti-spasmodic pills at school, JK calls him about the breakout. Pasha shoots Asif and Abu Bakr in anger, but Musa survives. Srikant bravely negotiates with him and convinces him to surrender. Meanwhile in Balochistan, Major Samir reveals plans for a massive attack called Mission Zulfikar and searches for a new recruit. Back home, family tension rises, and Driti secretly texts a boy. Meanwhile, a young radical plants a bomb on a busy Mumbai street, and it detonates. Srikant ends up in the hospital after his blood sugar spikes, and the doctor scolds him for his unhealthy habits. Before he can recover, he gets a call about a scooter bomb at Kalagoda. He and JK rush there with the bomb squad. A technician cuts a wire and gives a thumbs up, but the device still explodes, shocking everyone on site. At task, their boss is furious. Srikant insists the attack is the work of a lone bomber and is annoyed that their system didn't detect anything. He later checks on Asif and Musa, the prisoners from Kochi. Asif is in a coma, while Musa talks a little in exchange for a promise to meet his mother, but the details aren't enough to move the case forward. During a ride to the airport, Srikant and his boss talk about family and how unpredictable their line of work is. In Quetta, Major Samir meets co-conspirators and discusses Mission Zulfikar. Suchitra teaches alongside Arvind, who offers her a job at his future company. She declines but hesitates. Driti's school suspension gets resolved after Srikant stages a timely rescue from a fake demolition threat, convincing the principal to cancel it. Task identifies 3 suspects from a gaming company. 2 are caught immediately, and the third is chased through the streets before being captured. Under interrogation, they admit they were retrieving dangerous material near Victoria College, where their Bhai lives. A student named Kareem later appears refusing to stand for the national anthem and returns home to Victoria College Hostel. Kareem becomes the focus as tensions rise across the country. News spreads of 2 Muslim men being killed by cow vigilantes, and the report leaves Kareem furious while his girlfriend tries to calm him down. At his hostel, an undercover cop named Shindi watches the Dropbox linked to the 3 arrested gamers using a teddy bear camera, but he's often asleep on the job. Srikant visits the hospital again to question Musa about Mission Zulfikar, but learns nothing useful. To identify who uses the Dropbox, he asks a local officer to check students with records, but the officer wrongly arrests 4 innocent Muslim boys. Srikant and JK order their immediate release. Sushi meets Arvind at a cafe and is unexpectedly introduced to the CEO of his new company. She makes a good impression and starts seriously considering the job, though she worries about leaving teaching. Kareem later meets a man named Altaf, who gives him a memory card for an unnamed plan. At a grocery store, Srikant notices Driti's openness about menstruation, gets uneasy, and secretly checks her chats using task access. Kareem eventually retrieves something from the Dropbox, catching Shinde's attention. Task starts monitoring him and plants cameras in his hostel room. Kareem grows suspicious, especially when the chai stall disappears. During Atharv's birthday party, Srikant argues with his brother, then rushes out after Zoya flags Kareem's activity. Kareem and his group discuss materials, a guest list, and a floor plan before moving locations due to fear of surveillance, leaving TASC scrambling once again. Kareem leaves his hostel with Iqbal and Nisar, disguising themselves as catering delivery workers and even switching their van's look. Their plan is unclear, but it feels like they're preparing for something big. With no solid lead on them, Task traces their phones to Pendi Bazaar. Srikant's boss is furious, and Srikant pushes for a search warrant on Kareem's room while ordering Force 1 to evacuate the crowded area. At home, Sushi finally answers Arvind's offer with "I'm in," and they meet to celebrate. Meanwhile, police search Kareem's room and seize his laptop. In the hospital, Musa grows close to a nurse, sharing regrets about ISIS. Task struggles to unlock Kareem's laptop. While Sushi meets Arvind at a hotel, Srikant tracks her location through the Task system systems, storms over with JK and feels crushed when he sees them together. Force One reaches Pendi Bazaar but warns that clearing the area is nearly impossible. Once the laptop is decrypted, Task discovers Kareem's last viewed video, a hate speech clip from MP Deshpande, who lives in the same area and is hosting a birthday gathering. Kareem's van heads there but panics at the heavy security. Nisar is shot, Iqbal is killed inside the van, and Kareem tries to flee but is gunned down. Inside the van, officers find only containers of beef. Kareem planned a protest, not an attack. Task covers up the mistake as an encounter. Srikant spirals, argues with Suchi, and later wonders if someone framed Kareem. The final reveal shows the 4 boys released earlier, one of them looking exactly like the scooter bomber. Altaf meets a young man named Sajid, a former Victoria College student once arrested for being anti-national. Faizan used Kareem as bait to keep Sajid off the radar, and now Altaf explains Mission Zulfikar and tells Sajid to leave the hostel to avoid attention. Task deals with the fallout of the failed operation. Srikant faces an inquiry as NIA officials question how Kareem and his friends ended up dead. They privately know the truth but shift the blame toward Force One, while Srikant insists he should be responsible. Altaf gives Sajid money and tickets to Srinagar, where he's meant to meet a man named Basharat. The name brings back bad memories for him. Meanwhile, Srikant checks on Asif and another patient named Musa at the hospital. Musa grows close to a nurse named Mary, but he refuses to reveal anything when Srikant tries to question him. Srikant's stress shows at home, and soon he learns he's being reassigned to Srinagar. He feels guilty about the operation, but his boss Kulkarni tells him it's for the greater good. In Pakistan, Major Samir updates a general on Mission Zulfikar. Musa secretly uses Mary's phone, then later takes her access card to visit Asif. Asif writes questions, and Musa responds by injecting him with potassium, killing him to keep Zulfikar hidden. In ISIS-controlled Syria a year earlier, Faizan and Major Samir talk about a skilled bomber called Al-Qatil and plan to pull him out of ISIS for their own operation. It becomes clear they're referring to Musa. They later meet him, and Samir invites him into Mission Zulfikar. In Srinagar, Srikant reconnects with Saloni, a former colleague with some past tension. He updates her about Zulfikar and the key asset who slipped into the city. At the hospital, JK looks into Asif's sudden death. The report says cardiac arrest, but the doctors find it odd. Mary, the nurse who grew close to Musa, stays silent. JK adds more task officers, Zoya, Malind, and Jayesh, to watch Musa's ward. Sushi starts her new job at a cafe-based startup and works closely with Arvind, who clearly likes her. Srikant and Saloni check a safe house for a terrorist named Basharat, but find it empty. Later, Srikant connects clues on the TASC system and realizes Musa is actually Al-Qatil. He warns JK immediately. At the hospital, a sleeper cell opens the back gate for armed men led by Bilal. They kill guards, staff, and Jayesh before reaching Musa. A shootout erupts. Pasha arrives but is gunned down, leaving the team devastated. Amid the chaos, Musa kills Mary to silence her and slips away. Musa is finally off the grid after the hospital chaos, and news channels explode with questions about the NIA. In Srinagar, Srikant watches the coverage and worries. Musa hides while trying to call his mother in Kerala, only to learn she may have left for the Gulf. The truth of his story hits hard. Sajid grows restless in Srinagar, annoyed that Basharat still hasn't contacted him about Mission Zulfikar. Srikant mourns Pasha and pushes his boss Sharma to issue alerts across major cities, but Sharma brushes him off. Srikant also asks JK to look deeper into Musa's family story. Sushi continues working at the cafe. When she learns Arvind's daughter is sick, she visits their home and cooks for the child. There's brief tension between them before they return to work. Arvind then asks her to join an investor meeting. In Pakistan, Samir storms into Faizan's hideout, unhappy that Sajid is asking too many questions. They mention that Musa and Sajid train together and share a close bond. Srikant, Saloni, and an army officer named Vikram get intel that Basharat will attend a wedding. They monitor the area with a drone and hear coded calls between Basharat, Sajid, and Faizan. Chetan is mentioned, and Srikant realizes it may refer to Musa. He goes undercover, spots Sajid, and chases him. But Sajid stirs a crowd and escapes. By nightfall, Srikant is frustrated, but he hints he knows someone who can lead them to Faizan, while Musa stays hidden. Srikant secretly contacts Bruce, the US consulate head in Islamabad, and trades Faizan's location for a chance to question him later. Using intercepted coordinates and a loop of Sajid's voice, they lure Faizan onto a terrace, letting the Americans pinpoint him and capture him. The Pakistani Prime Minister learns Faizan was hiding in their country and worries the US may cut aid. General Khurshid suspects General Ansari of sheltering terrorists, but exposing him could spark backlash. Sushi leaves for an investor meeting in Lonavala with Arvind, while Driti feels annoyed watching her mom act cheerful. At home, Srikant asks his boss for permission to interrogate Faizan in Balochistan. He's denied, but he insists on going unofficially and finally gets approval. Meanwhile, Ansari and Samir plan to move ahead with the second phase of Zulfikar. A raw agent, Mustafa, helps Srikant enter Pakistan using fake identities. In Lonavala, Suchi nails the investor pitch, and the team celebrates. Driti sneaks to a party but storms out after being pressured by a boy. Atharv stays home alone, finds Srikant's files, and even handles his gun, thinking it's a toy. Srikant reaches the safe house, poses as ISI, tricks Faizan into sharing details, then hands him to the Americans. Faizan reveals Zulfikar, nerve gas moved from Kashmir to Delhi by Sajid and Musa to trigger war and help Ansari stage a coup. Srikant urges both governments to work together to stop it. 3 years after a border firing, terrorists smuggle nerve gas canisters from Pakistan to India-occupied Kashmir. In present-day Kashmir, Sajid meets Basharat at the storage site, planning to move all canisters to Delhi at once. At task in Mumbai, Punit revives Kareem's phone, accidentally sending a text to his girlfriend Jonali. She receives it and is questioned by Shinde, the undercover officer from earlier. The message says, "Ink," and Jonali tries to figure out its meaning while also searching for Kareem's missing body cam. In Pakistan, the PM confronts General Ansari about mission Zulfikar. Ansari bargains to become the chief of army staff and reveals details of the mission. Samir, held captive and bruised, refuses to disclose the nerve gas location, but later calls Basharat to redirect Sajid to Delhi to meet Musa, aka Chetan. Srikant, Saloni, and Major Vikram plan to intercept Sajid as he loads the canisters. A tense chase ensues when army units surround Sajid and Basharat. Sajid jumps from his truck after one tire punctures on misplaced nails, sending the truck with nerve gas into a lake. Fortunately, the canisters remain intact. Sajid escapes and reaches New Delhi, meeting Musa. Musa updates him about Faizan's capture, Samir's arrest, and Ansari's betrayal. Sajid asks if mission Zulfikar is over. Musa says it isn't. There's a plan B, leaving the threat still looming. 1 year ago, in ISIS-controlled Syria, Major Samir meets Musa and tells him about mission Zulfikar, including a secret plan B known only to them. In the present, Musa informs Sajid about plan B and instructs him to meet Vaibhav, a factory manager in Delhi. At the Tiwari house, Srikant and Suchi go about their day, drop the kids to school, and deal with their strained relationship. Atharv reveals he found Srikant's secret gun, and Srikant tells him to keep it hidden. Task briefly celebrates the end of Zulfikar, but realizes the mission isn't over after intercepting a call from Samir. Musa's men steal a truck, while Sajid pressures Vaibhav using a compromising video. Srikant puts Delhi on high alert and arranges for Musa's mother to be brought to safety. Milind and Zoya track Vaibhav to the factory, discovering Musa and Sajid inside. They witness the terrorists gather information about chemicals and set up a gas leak that could kill thousands. Musa and Sajid leave, planning to return to kill everyone remaining in the factory. Musa sees his mother on TV and drives back to stop the gas release. But he and Sajid fight in the car, causing an accident. Sajid kills Musa and walks away. Srikant and JK arrive at the scene, while Milind and Zoya struggle inside the factory. Mission Zulfikar finally ends with Musa dead and the gas threat neutralized. A few years ago in Sri Lanka, Bhaskaran, a Tamil rebel leader, reads about his own death in the news. Along with Subbu and Deepan, he plans an attack on Sri Lanka's head of state, Rupa Tunga, but their camp is bombed. The three escape and sail to India to gather support for their cause. In Mumbai, Srikant now works at Kashmir, an IT company, and deals with his irritating boss and brother. At home, his family navigates daily life, and Driti raises concerns about Srikant and Suchi's strained relationship. Atharv finds Srikant's secret gun, and Suchi reveals she is seeing a counselor, suggesting Srikant join her. At NIA, the gas leak at Orion Chemicals is revealed to be a terrorist act, but the media is misled into blaming the company. Srikant resigns from task in frustration. At the PMO, Basu pressures India to arrest Subbu to secure a port deal with Sri Lanka. In Chennai, Subbu mobilizes support but is tracked and cornered by officers led by Muthu. He overpowers them and holds a couple hostage. Srikant and JK coordinate with Chellam, a former operative and Bhaskaran's ally, to negotiate. Through Chellam, Bhaskaran orders Subbu to surrender. Subbu complies and is arrested, making headlines. Meanwhile, Driti rides with a boy named Kalyan, later revealed as Salman, Sajid's associate, showing that the web of enemies is far from over. In London, Major Samir meets Sajid in a restaurant where General Ansari is present. Samir confronts Ansari about his past betrayal. During a handshake, a chemical in Samir's ring triggers Ansari's cardiac arrest, killing him instantly. Samir silently avenges himself. In Chennai, Raji, a factory worker, faces harassment at work and on her commute. Later, she fights back and kills a man following her, revealing her past as a Tamil rebel. In Mumbai, Srikant and Suchi visit a marriage counselor, accompanied by Atharv. The session turns comical as Srikant gets uncomfortable with questions about intimacy and leaves angrily. Sushi reveals she quit her job to focus on family, adding tension to their relationship. Atharv experiments with hypnosis on a dog, putting it to sleep. Srikant endures a dull corporate routine until a journalist questions him about Kareem's death, prompting him to issue a sharp warning. He meets Kulkarni, feeling guilty about Kareem's family believing false narratives. Milind visits Zoya, now wheelchair-bound, and is persuaded to return to work. Subbu, in court, is killed by a scooter bomb planted by Saj. Bhaskaran mourns his brother and resigns, passing leadership of the Tamil government in exile to Deepan. Samir meets Bhaskaran, supporting his renewed fight against India. Bhaskaran contacts Selva, rallying old rebels. Raji receives a call from Selva about a new mission, reigniting her resolve. Meanwhile, Driti and Kalyan share a romantic moment, hinting at growing connections. If you're enjoying this thrilling ride, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single twist and turn. A few years ago in northern Sri Lanka, Raji and Selva, Tamil rebels, discover explosives while planning operations for their cause. They fight fiercely for Tamil autonomy before moving on to new missions. In the present, Sushi celebrates her birthday with Srikant and the kids, sharing a rare happy moment. Arvind also texts his wishes, stirring tension between Sushi and Srikant. In her counseling session, Sushi reflects on her strained marriage, admitting she's projecting frustrations onto Srikant and feels disconnected from him. The counselor suggests she consider returning to work, hinting at a truth Srikant isn't aware of. Sambit and Kulkarni discuss the fallout from Subu's death in Chennai, worried about unrest and potential retaliation from Tamil rebels. They fear a possible assassination attempt on the Prime Minister, but PM Basu continues with her Chennai-Sri Lanka talks despite the risks. Driti is with Kalyan, who goes by Salman, hinting at hidden connections to Sajid. Samir congratulates Sajid on Subu's death and instructs him to stay in Chennai for Phase 2. Raji, now working in a factory, resigns to return home after learning her mother is unwell. Her boss attempts to exploit her, but in a fit of rage, she kills him, revealing her strength and past as a rebel. Srikant and Suchi's dinner ends in tension as she expresses wanting to return to work and take a break from their marriage. Srikant quits his corporate job and rejoins TASC. Years ago in northern Sri Lanka, Raji is introduced to Bhaskaran by Selva as the rebels' top fighter pilot. She is honored with a badge and joins the team, including Karthik, Prabhu, and Sajid, at Tigris Aviation Flying School. Her motivation is the Tamil cause, haunted by her mother's suicide and brother's death. In the present, Raji disposes of her boss Nanda's body in trash bags in a pond, with formaldehyde nearby. Meanwhile, Srikant visits Jonali in Mumbai, confessing that Kareem wasn't a terrorist. Jonali records their talk and refuses to forgive him. Srikant leaves for Chennai, leaving the kids upset as he and Sushi are on a break. In Chennai, task officers Muthu and Milind join him and JK to ensure PM Basu's safety during bilateral talks. The team gathers intel on rebel safe houses from Chellam, using a coded message at a fish market. Driti deals with Kalyan's sudden distance, but they reconcile after a cafe meeting. Raji continues evading the police while dropping trash bags, even as Umayal's investigation narrows in on her. She feigns ignorance about Nanda's behavior and chemicals at home. At the Tigris Flying School, rebels prep an airplane for operations. Srikant and JK cross paths with Raji while checking safe houses, unaware that Umayal is closing in. Later, she enters Raji's house and finds two men in the bathroom, Srikant and JK, holding their cover. Srikant and JK spend a night in jail after Inspector Umayal refuses to believe their claims of being Indian intelligence. JK tries to call his boss Sharma, but Umayal thinks he is messing with her and destroys his phone. Next morning, Muthu frees them and explains they were arrested at Rebel Raji's house, showing her photo. Srikant recognizes her from a prior encounter. In Mumbai, Suchi tells Arvind she isn't ready to revisit the past, upsetting him. Srikant calls Driti and Atharv to check on home while JK teases him in front of Muthu. Umayal joins Taski's temporary office and shares Nanda's post-mortem report, revealing Raji's strength. The team analyzes a video of rebels including Subu, Bhaskaran, Deepan, and Raji, then circulates their photos. In Sri Lanka, Selva, Raji, and Sajid leave from Tigris Aviation Flying School to gather explosives, avoiding detection. Selva meets Jebaraj, a smuggler, to guide them to the coast, warning him to stay sober. They reach Viraranyam, dig up explosives, and kill officers who interfere, including Jebaraj. Meanwhile, RAW agents notice Bhaskaran's house is empty. He has gone underground after receiving a warning from Samir. At night, task members bond over drinks, while Srikant worries about his family. Raji reflects on past losses and her anger at the Sri Lankan and Indian authorities. With explosives secured, Raji and Sajid sail back, completing the first phase of their mission. Sajid and Raji sail back to Viraranyam with explosives, leaving Jebaraj behind after killing him. They head to his house to collect the detonators. At task, Srikant and team have breakfast while Muthu warns them to stay armed among locals who support the rebels. Chellam arrives and tells Srikant that Raji is part of Bhaskaran's mission and gives the address of Jebaraj. It's family day at Sushi's office. She brings Atharv, meets Arvind and his daughter, and juggles work while Nikhil insists she attend a London presentation. Meanwhile, Raji reaches Jebaraj home but finds Task there. A chase ensues, she injures some officers, shields herself with JK, and finally gets caught by Umayal. Srikant learns from Kulkarni that arms were smuggled via old routes, part of Bhaskaran's plan. At the police station, Srikant and Umayal interrogate Raji, who shares her tragic past but hides mission details. JK and Muthu fail to get information from locals, who later puncture their car tires. Selva and Sajid mobilize the locals to attack the station. Chaos erupts. Raji escapes with Selva and Sajid. Milind is shot and dies despite Srikant's efforts. Srikant calls Suchi in grief. Sajid reports to Samir, taunting Srikant and ordering Salman to ensure Driti is in their control by the next day, setting up a tense new threat. Selva and Sajid bring an unconscious Raji back to Tigris. Umayal recovers in the hospital after Raji tried to choke choke her, with JK visiting her. Kulkarni mourns Milind's death while Srikant reveals that Sajid is working with the rebels in Samir. They also learn that a body matching Jebba Raj's has been found at Point Pedro. Srikant asks Kulkarni to postpone the PM's talks, but Basu insists on holding them. The task team revisits Jebbaraj's home and finds detonators in the storeroom, confirming a planned explosion. Deepan worries in London and tries to locate Bhaskaran, who is hiding in Normandy. Sajid and Selva stay at Tigris, planning the PM's assassination while Raji battles a high fever. In Mumbai, Driti prepares for a movie with Kalyan, lying to Suchi about her whereabouts, which sparks an argument. Later, Driti is followed while leaving the theater. Suchi eventually learns from Mahima that Driti has a boyfriend and went missing. At Chennai, the task team mourns Milind. Sajid departs for Mumbai, complimenting Raji before leaving. Srikant receives a call from Suchi through Arvind, learning that Driti might be kidnapped. Task tracks her phone to a train, but Srikant believes she hasn't accidentally lost it. Determined, he sets off for Mumbai, vowing to find her. Meanwhile, Driti is unconscious and tied up in Salman's apartment, setting up a tense rescue. Driti is trapped at Salman and Syed's apartment, terrified and pleading for help. Salman tells her danger is linked to her father's work, though she insists he only works at an IT company. Meanwhile, Atharv stays at Sushi's parents' home, and Srikant returns to comfort a distressed Sushi. In Chennai, Task realizes the terrorists plan an air attack using stolen C4 from Point Pedro and alerts airports and flying schools. Srikant speaks with JK, frustrated that his work endangers his family. He investigates Driti's friends and learns Kalyan, an older boy she met on Instagram, is involved. CCTV at the mall confirms Kalyan's and Syed's identities. At Tigris Aviation, Muthu and JK wait for a search warrant. Prabhu and Karthik pose as staff while hiding explosives. JK discovers a plane filled with C4, alerting Selva and Raji, who open fire. JK and Muthu barely escape. Srikant and Suchi contact Driti, but Syed interrupts. At home, Suchi blames Srikant for Driti's danger. Raji informs Sajid that Tigris was discovered, prompting Sajid to move Driti. Alone with Salman, Driti pretends to cooperate, then stabs him with a glass, killing him and escaping. She grabs keys to leave, but Sajid ambushes her at the door, striking her unconscious, leaving her fate hanging in peril. Outside Syed's building, Srikant, Ajit, Shinde and other officers prepare a sting. Shinde goes undercover as a watchman and confirms Syed and Sajid are inside. Driti regains consciousness and blocks her room door with the bed, preventing Sajid from hurting her. Syed and Sajid escape through the window. Srikant rescues Driti and sends her to the hospital, seeing Salman's dead body. Sajid tries to flee but is shot by police while Syed is killed during the chase. At Tigris, Muthu finds the terrorists and the plane gone. JK's body is discovered in the jungle, but he survives and is hospitalized. Traces of C4 confirm the explosives, though no plane took off. Raji uses seduction to retrieve the truck from a checkpoint, and the terrorists transport the dismantled plane to Kicha Farms, Bhaskaran's allies' property. Bhaskaran is arrested in France but kills himself before revealing anything. Selva is killed in a firefight at Kicha Farms. Raji attempts to take off in the plane, but Srikant and Muthu shoot, causing it to explode mid-air, stopping the attack. The Sri Lankan president and PM Basu complete the port deal. Back in India, the task team receives medals, and Srikant celebrates with his family. The story then hints at a new mission in Nagaland, setting up the next season of the show. In Nagaland, former Chief Minister David attends a regional festival to discuss peace and development when a bomb blast kills and injures over 30 people. Similar attacks occur across the northeast. In New Delhi, PM Pranita Basu meets ministers about the blasts. Yashwant claims China is responsible, but NIA Chief Kulkarni warns that retaliating could harm Project Sahakar. The PM prioritizes the peace initiative despite Yashwant's push for funding. In London, businessman Dwaraknath discusses India-Russia relations with Mira, who warns of a looming war and orders an attack on Nazreen, a Pakistani woman linked to Major Samir. Kulkarni informs Srikant about a mission tied to Project Sahakar and sends him to Nagaland. At home, Srikant struggles to manage Driti and Atharv, while Suchitra handles her company after Arvind moves to Canada. Shrink Me faces setbacks when the PM bans Chinese apps. Shifting to Arunachal Pradesh, Rukma is recruited by Rabbit for a high-risk mission targeting David. In Nagaland, Srikant and Kulkarni meet David and rebel leaders, but Stephen, a rebel grandson, refuses the peace treaty. During their return, Rukma ambushes their convoy. A violent crossfire kills most of the soldiers, and David is shot dead. Srikant narrowly escapes, but Rukma's bomb destroys the car. Gravely injured, Kulkarni is executed by Rukma, and Srikant passes out witnessing the killing, setting the stage for a high-stakes mission. Sharma learns from JK that Srikant is recovering from his coma. At home, Suchitra informs Driti about the deaths of Kulkarni and David, worrying about Srikant's condition. In Delhi, PM Basu meets her ministers to plan the peace project despite the losses. Rukma, injured in the shootout, complains about his right hand and asks Rabbit to cover his treatment. He goes home to his girlfriend Nima, showing kindness to her but harshness to her son Bobby. Srikant wakes up, learns of Kulkarni's death, and is devastated. He reassures Suchitra he is fine, but keeps the attack details from her. Meanwhile, Nima asks Rukma to marry her for Bobby's security. He refuses. Srikant investigates Project Guan Yu and identifies Rukma as a dangerous operative. Saloni informs him that Rukma was kidnapped as a child, killed his captors, and later smuggled drugs. Srikant plans a covert raid on Rukma's house, distrusting the NIA. In London, Mira and Samir discuss the mission that killed Kulkarni. Mira remains secretive about her goals. Srikant attends Kulkarni's memorial and tries to speak to PM Basu privately. He warns Sambit and Sharma about Rukma, but they dismiss his claims. That night, Rukma agrees to marry Nima, but the Narcotics Bureau raids the house. Nima is killed in the crossfire, and Rukma escapes with Bobby. Mira's team gathers intel on Srikant and his family, while Samir cautions her against underestimating him. Suchitra goes on a live TV debate about the India-China crisis and defends her company's app, claiming it doesn't share user data. Srikant watches at home with Driti and Atharv, proud of her. The host, however, brings up her divorce application, suggesting the app exposed her data, and the panel embarrasses her on national television. The next morning, Driti and Atharv ask their parents about the divorce. JK joins breakfast, and Driti urges her parents to reveal the truth about Srikant's job to Atharv. In Nagaland, Rukma confronts Rabbit over how the Narcotics Bureau discovered his location and punishes him for Nima's death. In Mumbai, Srikant is placed on administrative leave by the NIA and treated as a suspect after Kulkarni's death. Protesters vandalize Suchitra's office, and Driti is bullied online. Srikant gets drunk, but later returns to assure his family's safety. Rukma takes Bobby with him after failing to get help from Nima's estranged parents. Zoya returns to task and learns about Srikant's leave. Atharv faces bullying at school and is suspended, while Driti is also affected. Samir warns Rukma about working with Mira, but he refuses. Srikant meets his team and learns their phones are bugged. Srikant leaves for Delhi to meet PM Basu, using a decoy plan with JK to protect his family. The family is moved to a safe location, and Srikant boards a flight undetected. Srikant travels by train with JK, Suchitra, and the kids, handing them fake IDs. When the ticket checker asks for identification, Srikant quickly improvises a story, impressing his family with his spy skills. Meanwhile, PM Basu faces the press about Kulkarni's murder. Sambit advises her to visit Nagaland to support the victims and mentions upcoming arrests in the case. In Nagaland, Rukma calls Mira, blaming her for letting Srikant survive. Mira scolds him and gives him £500,000 for the next mission. On the train, Srikant worries about being blamed for Kulkarni's death and the safety of his family. JK tries to calm him. Yatish orders a check on Srikant's fake IDs, but Zoya shows that he uses personal ones. They trace him to a Chennai train, but he has actually gone to Nagaland. In Islamabad, Samir learns from Bruce that Mira works for Indian billionaire Dwarkanath. Srikant settles his family in a safe house and talks with Suchitra about fixing their relationship. Yatish and the team arrive in Nagaland to track him. Rukma plans an attack on PM Basu using Bobby to plant a bomb, but the boy leaves the bag and gets lost. Rukma finds Bobby just as the PM's car arrives and triggers the bomb, putting everyone on edge. News channels cover the bomb blast during PM Basu's Nagaland visit. Varaprasad mentions Indian billionaire Dwaraknath, who funds a channel criticizing the PM, while Yashwant wants Black Ops commandos to capture Stephen, hiding in Myanmar. Mira arrives in India and Rukma drives her, evading her security. She panics, threatening him, but he assures her that everything is under control. Srikant and JK discuss the PM's attack with Saloni, suspecting it is linked to Project Guan Yu and an attempt to sabotage Project Sahakar. He plans to contact Stephen. Yatish notices Saloni's closeness to Srikant and orders surveillance, while Zoya accuses Srikant of causing an agent's death and calls him a traitor. That night, Rukma and Mira bond, with her asking him to deal with Bobby as a liability. Zoya and Yatish share a drink and a brief kiss. The next day, Srikant talks to Suchitra about the attack. Rukma arranges for Bobby's care while they travel to Myanmar. The NIA receives a video from MCAS Jazo, claiming their innocence in past attacks. Srikant and Mira both watch it, each claiming a source inside NIA. Rukma meets Colonel Zhulong in Myanmar, securing 20 soldiers for their plan. Srikant saves Jazo from Rukma's men, realizing she supports Stephen. PM Basu's rescue mission in Myanmar fails as soldiers are captured. That night, Srikant and JK are kidnapped by masked assailants. PM Basu discusses the failed rescue of Indian hostages in Myanmar with Yashwant and Sambit, debating how to manage the political fallout and keep details from the media. Meanwhile, Yatish and Zoya grow closer, but keep their relationship secret as per NIA rules. Srikant and JK are held in a secret location, meeting Stephen, who reveals Rukma's role in building Chinese villages in the northeast and his collaboration with Mira in Myanmar. Srikant contacts Sharma to alert him about Mira and Rukma's plans, while Samir warns Colonel Zhulong of their partnership. That night, Srikant and Stephen discuss rebel ideology, while JK talks to Ulupi about MCAS issues. Srikant seeks help from Chelam to reach Myanmar and reluctantly reluctantly contacts Michael Vedanayagam. Back home, Suchitra worries, and Saloni discovers Srikant is missing. Yatish's team tracks the safe house, arresting Sushi and the kids for aiding a traitor, while Zoya secretly supports Srikant. In Islamabad, Samir uncovers the implications of PM Basu's arms deal, while Sharma informs Sambit about Mira's CIA links, pushing for a red notice against her and Rukma. Michael takes Srikant, JK, Stephen, and Ulupi to Manipur, where Subu helps them reach Myanmar. Meanwhile, Sushi and the children escape Yatish's custody with the help of Saloni and Zoya, who confront and neutralize his men, rescuing the family and ensuring their safety. PM Basu faces media backlash but decides to sign the arms deal with Dwaraknath and orders the army to plan a rescue for Indian soldiers held hostage in Myanmar. Meanwhile, Srikant reaches Myanmar and meets Temjin, who informs him and Stephen about Rukma's involvement and the captive soldiers. They plan to rescue Colonel Vikram first before confronting Rukma. CAS supporters and Colonel Julong's army are arranged to help in the mission. Rukma drops Mira at a runway so she can hide in Thailand while he stays to finish their mission. Zoya confronts Yatish, recovering from his injuries, and convinces him to confess his role in Kulkarni's death. His statement clears Srikant, and his family is placed under protective custody. Sharma supports Srikant, but regrets that he does not trust him. In Myanmar, Srikant, Stephen, and JK reach Rukma's base but are captured. Rukma accuses Srikant of killing his wife and keeps them hostage to prevent bloodshed. Back home, Suchi and the kids return to Mumbai and Saloni reassures them. PM Basu pushes forward the arms deal despite warning Dwaraknath about media influence. Soldiers secretly rescue Srikant, Stephen, and JK. Srikant frees the Indian soldiers, confronts Rukma in a crossfire, and pursues him as he escapes on a bike. Srikant is shot and crashes, while Samir targets Mira in Thailand, leaving the story open-ended with Srikant still in Myanmar. If you thought your Monday was hectic, just imagine Srikant chasing terrorists across Myanmar while juggling family drama, bomb threats, and an international arms deal. Now don't worry, because the Family Man isn't done yet. Season 4 is already teasing more chaos, more high-stakes missions, and probably a lot more Srikant running like his life depends on it, because it always does. See you in the next recap.